Good
Uh-oh.
evening. Today is
Wait,
Monday.
hold on. I gotta. Where do I
You're
start?
recording already.
Oh, I'm recording.
It says
Okay,
record.
you can go ahead and start.
All right. Good evening. Today is Monday, April 6th, 2020. I am Candy Brew, Mayor for the City of Norway. I will be felicitating the meeting as this process was created quickly. I appreciate your patience as we work through this new format. The City of Norway regular meeting, April 6th, is being conducted remotely, where all members of the City Council are in separate locations with no participation from the Curtis J. Brackett Memorial Council chambers. The meeting will be called to order shortly. I offer a warm welcome to those joining us via telephone or watching our video stream. All audience participants are muted upon entry and will have a chance to speak during the public comment section of the meeting. If you wish to speak during the public comment, please use one of the following methods: question and answer feature in Zoom, or raise your hand feature in Zoom. Attendees will be unmuted and given an opportunity to make their comments. This will alert us of your desire to speak. Please ensure you are in a quiet location and mute any video stream so all will be able to hear your comments. Staff will be reading any public comments received via email. If you're watching the video stream or joining the call via phone, you will notice a delay in the video stream. This delay is unavoidable. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Trish.
Mrs. Brew?
Yeah.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Marraro?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
We'll move on to Resolution 2020-04, establishing rules for the remote attendance to comply with the Governor's Executive Order 2020-15. Mr. Anderson.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. A resolution, as you mentioned, Resolution 2020-04 has been put together, which outlines our procedures for the meeting. If you would indulge me, I will read through those procedures. The first part of the resolution is on a whereas on March 10th, Governor Whitmer declared a state of emergency as a result of the coronavirus outbreak. And also whereas on March 11th, the World Health Organization declared a coronavirus outbreak a pandemic. And whereas on March 13th, President declared a national emergency as a result of the coronavirus outbreak. Whereas the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services has issued interim recommendations for COVID-19 community mitigation strategies. And whereas such strategies include encouraging staff to telework when feasible and implementing social distancing measures as feasible, including limiting in-person meetings and to limit large work-related gatherings. And whereas on March 18th, Governor Whitmer issued Executive Order 20-15 or 2020-15 to suspend rules and procedures relating to physical presence at meetings and hearings of public bodies to allow for public bodies to continue to conduct public business during the COVID-19 emergency and the general public to continue to participate in government decision-making without unduly compromising public health, safety, and welfare. And whereas to implement the MDHS mitigation strategies allow the City Council and other boards, city boards, authorities, and committees, herein referred to as collectively as public bodies, to continue public business and to allow the public to attend meetings of the public bodies remotely if they desire, consistent and in compliance with Executive Order 2020-15. The City Council desires to establish rules to authorize and allow its members and members of the public to attend meetings of the public bodies by telephone or other electronic means as set forth in this resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council immediately authorizes its members and members of the public to attend all meetings of public bodies by telephone or other electronic means and establish rules as follows. Notice of meetings for every meeting to be held remotely pursuant to this resolution. The city clerk shall post on the homepage of the city's website in a conspicuous location and at the City Hall, 915 Main Street, Norway, the following. An explanation of why the public body is meeting remotely, contact information for all members of the public body, along with information about how the public may contact the members to provide input on any business that will come before the public body, the dial-in conference number or other necessary information for members of the public to utilize in order to access the meeting remotely, the agenda for the meeting at least 18 hours prior to the meeting, procedures by which persons with disabilities may participate in the meeting. If any meeting includes a public hearing, all material that will be considered by the public body at the public hearing shall be posted or linked on the homepage of the city's website in a conspicuous location, whereas otherwise required by law. This provision shall not apply to written public comment received by the public body for the public hearing. Section B is conduct of the meeting. The telephone or other electronic technology being utilized shall allow the members of the public body to communicate to any other member in attendance and any member of the public or staff attending, and shall allow for any member of the public or staff attending to communicate with any member attending. A member's remote attendance shall be considered attendance for the purpose of establishing a quorum. Item 3 is any vote by a member participating remotely pursuant to the resolution shall be counted in the total number of votes for any matter and shall not be held invalid for the reason that it was cast by a member remotely. If any member is participating remotely, all votes on any matter shall be taken by roll call vote. Adjournment of a meeting shall occur only on a roll call vote of the public body. For closed sessions conducted under this policy, each member and authorized attendee of the closed session shall not allow anyone else to hear or view the closed session. All members and authorized attendees of the closed session shall affirm before the closed session begins that they are in compliance with this subsection. Emails, texting, or other forms of electronic communication by or between members during the meeting shall not be allowed. If an email, text, or other form of electronic communication is received by a member of the public body by 2 hours before the scheduled start time on the day of the meeting related to any item on the agenda for the meeting, and the sender requests such, the email, text, or other electronic communication may be read by a member of the public body receiving the communication if the receiver becomes aware of the message in time during the agenda item, and it shall be addressed by the public body as appropriate during the meeting. The city clerk shall also follow this subsection. Subsection C, attendance by members of the public. Immediately after calling the meeting to order, the city clerk or other designated facilitator shall ensure that the dial-in number or other means of conducting the meeting remotely is working. If the dial-in number or other means of conducting a meeting remotely is not working, the meeting shall be immediately adjourned by the mayor or designated facilitator of the meeting without any decision or deliberation on the matter. If any member of the public is attending remotely, each member of the public shall be provided an opportunity to provide public comment during a public comment portion of the agenda pursuant to the rules of the public body on public comment. Such opportunity shall be given by the mayor or designated facilitator, asking each individual who has attending the meeting by telephone whether they have any public comment. If any member of the public is attending and closed session is called by the public body as permitted by the Open Meetings Act, a separate call-in number or other electronic means of remotely participating shall be available for the public body to utilize for a closed session that is not available to the public. The mayor or designated facilitator shall clearly indicate at what point in the agenda the closed session will occur, the projected length of the closed session, that the public will not be able to hear the public body or promote or provide comment during the closed session. and the public body shall return to the public meeting following closed session to adjourn the meeting or take other action as necessary. Furthermore, this resolution is intended to establish rules for and authorize participation by remote access by members of the public body and attendance by remote access by members of the public in the interest of public health, safety, and welfare during the coronavirus outbreak, while preserving meaningful access to meetings and communication for public body members and members of the public, including members of the press and other news media. In the event of a conflict between the resolution and the rules of the city council or other public body, the terms of this resolution shall control. This resolution shall be effective immediately and shall remain in effect until April 30th, 2020 at 11:59 p.m. or so long as the Executive Order 2020-15 is in effect, whichever is longer. That concludes the resolution.
Do I need a vote on the resolution?
Mr. Kramer?
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to pass resolution 2020-04.
Do I have a
Support.
second?
Support.
Madam Mayor, point of order. Ray, do we actually have to, I mean, this is a governor's order. Do we have to actually vote to approve this?
Yes,
We should.
we need to have established the rules officially for our board, and you're establishing them for our other committees, such as the DDA and other committees that would need to meet on a public basis.
Understood.
Trish?
So is that Kramer and Pop?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Marraro?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda as presented. Do I have any questions on the agenda? If not, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes,
Mr. Marraro?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
I'm going to move on to the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of March 16th, 2020. Do I have any questions on the minutes of the meeting? If not, I need a motion.
I motion that we approve the minutes from the March 16th, 2020 meeting.
Support.
Mr. Marraro?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
yes,
Move on to the approval of manifest 2020-07. Do I have any questions? Scott, do you have any questions on the manifest?
I have none for tonight.
Brett?
I have two on page 5 of 7. On wastewater fund, about halfway down, there's an Aquafix grease control for 1842. And there's also a universal plumbing and heating backflow prevention cert. Were them budgeted or approved? Because the chemical Aquafix is over half of what they have left in a budget for their chemical budget.
I'll have to get back to you on that question, on those two questions.
What page was that on?
5 of 7. It's under wastewater fund.
Okay.
That's
Is that
all
all
I
you-
have for questions. Yep.
Jeff?
Sorry, I'm a little slow on the click here. No questions, Madam Mayor.
All right. And Lee?
Brett already asked the one question I had. On the other things on, under administration, I see there's all kinds of charges for number 700. I'm assuming that was the old Dodge police truck car.
No, that is actually the pool car. We're having an electrical problem on the pool car,
Oh,
the
okay.
old cop car.
Okay, I got here on page 2 of 7, a little way down on Public Works. It's for $121. I realize that's not much, but a charity asphalt? What is that supposed to be? Release and, I don't know, something else.
I will get back to you on that.
Okay. Oh, that's all I have.
I have none. Can I have a motion on approval of manifest 2020-07?
I motion that we approve the manifest.
Do I have a second? And also, Jeff, can you add the amount of that manifest in your motion, please?
Sure can. For the amount of $407,097.15.
I will support.
Mr. Pop,
Yes.
Mrs. Brew,
Yes?
Mr. Kramer,
Yes, with the exception of the two totals I asked about.
Mr. Menegini,
Same here, but Brett said, but yes.
and Mr. Marrero.
So Madam Mayor, once again, point of order. Can we conditionally approve it, or are those actually no votes at this point?
That is a no vote on them two items.
Oh, just on those two items?
Mhm.
Yes, then I will also object to those two items until we have clarification, but I do approve the rest of the manifest. Yes.
Okay, I'll move on to anyone wishing to address the council on any agenda item shall do so now by using the question and answer feature or raise your hand feature in Zoom. Telephone only attendees will be unmuted and given an opportunity to make their comments. State your name and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes. Do we have anybody?
I don't see anybody on a phone call coming in, and no one has asked any questions.
Okay, thank you, Chris. We'll move on to communications. Approval agreement between the Dickinson County Trail Network and the City of Norway. Proposal to build MTB trail on city property. Do I, Mr. Anderson?
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. This particular agenda item is a follow-up from our last meeting. The Dickinson Trail Network has proposed to construct some additional trails on city-owned property. There were a number of questions that came up at the last meeting regarding liabilities and an agreement between the DTN and the City of Norway. An agreement has been provided for council consideration this evening, and as well as questions to the city attorney for dealing with the contract or agreement and some of the liability questions. We did answer a question that whether or not the volunteers, if the DTN had something for release of liability for the volunteers, and the volunteers will need to come under the city's release of liability program. That's something that we provided, the language, and we also accounted for a release of liability from the DTN within the agreement. So if there's any questions.
If not, I need a motion.
Grant, once again, you're comfortable with the language, and we will have a $1 million minimum liability protection with the city of Norway named as additional insured, correct?
Thank you, Mr. Marraro. It is included within the license agreement. The trail network is to carry with them and carry coverage, providing information to us, documentation of at least $1 million for general liability insurance. My understanding is with some of the partners that they've become and started to work with, they have increased that amount as well as some of the requirements for some of the other partners they're working with are requiring that as well. Additionally, within the release, they've agreed that they are working as volunteers and to hold us harmless for anything that may arise out of it. Additionally, under the Michigan Recreation Act, because they are not providing us any monies or any consideration or any valuable consideration, or the Michigan Recreational Use Act, our liabilities are greatly diminished, and we are afforded quite a bit of latitude and protection because the legislature wants to see this type of action take place and wants to see this type of volunteerism within a community to better the area through volunteers and through recreation within the state of Michigan.
Thank you, Grant.
Yes, sir.
If there are no other questions, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that the agreement between the city of Norway and the DTN to construct non-motorized trails on the city property be approved.
Support.
Mrs. Brew,
Yes.
Mr. Kramer,
Yes.
Mr. Menegini, Mr. Menegini, Mr. Marraro,
Yes.
Mr. Pa,
Yes.
and Mr. Menegini. Did we lose Lee?
He's muted.
Okay.
Okay, there he goes.
Yes.
Thank
You hear
you.
me now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I got a question for Ray. Can we put this map that they put out and put it on our channel 7 to give people an idea as to where all these trails are?
We can put that map on Channel 7 as well as the webpage. I'm not sure how it's gonna come out on Channel 7. It might be a little small, but we'll try it.
Yeah. Okay, so
We're going to move on to the approval of renewable energy credit sale agreement, Energy Harbor LLC. Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have another sale agreement for our Michigan Renewable Energy credits with Energy Harbor LLC. For this particular agreement, we have the agreement is for $2.25 per credit, and we're going to sell 10,000 credits, so that's a total of $22,500. And then there's a broker that we deal with, so that there is a $500 fee taken out of that for the broker.
What did we get last time for them?
$1.25.
That's what I thought. So that's pretty good.
And this does not, this is brings us to May 1st on our energy credits. So that will, by the end of the year, we'll have additional credits to also work with.
At the end of the year or the end of the fiscal year?
End of the calendar year is
Okay.
based on how we work the credits.
Okay. If there's no other questions, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that the Norway City Council authorize the city manager to execute the renewable energy credit sale agreement with Energy Harbor LLC for $22,500.
Second.
Support.
Roll call, Trish.
Mr. Kramer,
Yes.
Mr. Menegini,
Yes.
Mr. Marraro,
Yes.
Mr. Pop,
Yes.
Mrs. Brew.
Yes. We'll move on to the approval of Sturgeon Falls Hydro proposal to clean guard locks.
Okay, thank you again, Madam Mayor. The next item is as you referenced, the proposal to clean our guard locks down at the Sturgeon Falls Hydro. We did have the guard locks cleaned in 2015. But in 2011, when we ran, the last time we ran out, that we had the proposal, we had them cleaned for $72,500. The reason in 2015, the contractor already had a barge, and so handling another project, so we added to their contract to have them clean the guard locks without the mobilization costs of the barge. For this particular effort, we did get 2 quotes. The low quote was from Pluchuk Fab and Crane Rental for $44,043. And we do have the project budgeted at the $72,500. We typically, oh, go ahead.
All right, did we have Polchik do it before for us?
Yeah, they're the ones that actually did it the last time in 2015.
Because I was just wondering, because I couldn't see what, he just gave the number. He didn't really go into detail, the big difference between the other contractor if we are comparing apples to apples.
Well, I believe so, based on our conversation with the contractor. He's done it before. He knows what's needed in the project. So we have confidence that they have an understanding of what we need.
So
Okay,
Ray, oh, sorry, Candy.
I just wanted to make sure, because that big of a difference in numbers sometimes makes me feel like there might be something not comparable.
Yeah, Ray. So we got 70. I'm asking now. We got 72,500 in the budget. This thing's coming in at 152.43.
No, it's
So-
coming in. They're separate bids, Jeff. One's for
Oh,
43, and one's for 108.
So that the 108's a separate item.
That's a separate bid, yes.
Okay.
Them are the 2 different bidders.
But we're still pushing 30,000 over what we paid the last time, or no?
No, we're
Am I reading that
under.
wrong?
We're
We're
under
under.
by 30.
Okay, so
Are there any other questions?
Candy, I have to agree with you on that. Hard to believe there's such a price difference. And it kind of makes me wonder, like you said, that something is getting missed along the line.
Yeah, that's what I'm questioning, because I kind of seen that with the bidding out when we did the brushing for the trees and that. I mean, we got the lower bid, but I noticeably myself noticed that it wasn't as good a job as the other person who was the higher bidder. So I just want to make sure before any of this goes through that Ray or Scott goes and make sure this is a good comparison. I mean, we can still vote on it, but it's a big difference.
Yeah, our confidence level in this particular bid it's different than the last one you referenced, because we have history with this company, and we have history in this exact job. So we feel very confident that they understand what we're looking for, and that it is apples and apples in the quote.
do we have a scope of work?
Well, the scope of work is basically, the 3 items. They have to bring in the manpower and the barge, and they remove the brush and debris in front of the guard locks. So it's a pretty simplistic scope of work.
So, yeah, I think based off of that, there shouldn't be anything that could hopefully come back to bite us. I mean, that's, like you said, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? If not, I need a motion.
Candy, I'd like to ask, what would the efficiency go up to, Ray? With these guard locks cleaned out?
I think the number we heard was 20%, wasn't it? I mean, that was from Scott Clemunde when he was here with HCMS. He very familiar. He was working the last project for the Unit 1 turbine project, and with his background, he recognized there was a 1 foot drop in head in the forebay, and he anticipated probably anywhere from 10 to 20%. And in the past, we've seen that when you go 5 years. That's why we've estimated on a 5-year basis that you start losing that, especially that 4th year, you start losing your generational capacity. And that's why we have to address it. We're hoping that we could come up with a plan that will be more frequent and less costly and maintain our efficiency.
Yeah, if I remember right too, I
Thank
thought Scott said something, Brett, between 10 and 20%.
All right, thank you.
If I have no other questions, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that Plutchik Fab and Crane be approved to clean the guard lock for a price not to exceed $44,043.
Support.
Mr. Menegini, Mr. Menegini,
Yes.
Mr. Marraro,
Yes.
Mr. Pop,
Yes.
Mrs. Brew,
Yes?
Mr. Kramer.
Yes.
We'll move on to the proposal and agreement for online bill payment.
This particular agenda item is something we've talked about over the past year. It's coming to the forefront because we have an opportunity to get in line in the first week of June to have online bill payment through WPPI and have them establish what they call their My WPPI offering through our webpage, where our customers can go online and not only pay, but they can see their energy usage. It's a complete program that as a member of WPPI that we're afforded. But in order to do that, we have to select an online bill payment service. And so we need to get this moved forward in order to stay within the queue for WPPI. Our city treasurer, Mary Pollard, has been working diligently over the last month to put these proposals together for the city council. And we had 2 that we reviewed. The one that we have selected or that we would like council to select is a company called Paymentus for that online billing. Their selection is based off of our discussion with other WPPI members that have made this same decision and are very satisfied with Paymentus, and they're also probably considered a little more progressive in some of their offerings that they can handle with their technology. One question that has to be answered by council for this agreement is whether or not we absorb the fees or whether the fees are transferred to our customers and the customers pay the fee. We provided within your packet an outline between the 2 companies, which is Paymentus and then another company called PSN. And you notice that the customer pays the fee. Because it's not a governmental entity, the fee is quite a bit larger than what would be paid if we absorb those fees. Mary is on the line in the meeting, and she would be in a better position to answer the specific question since she dealt with both companies more directly.
Mary, it's Jeff. So PSN, I'm looking at one-time fees, $199. I'm assuming that's to the city. So it's a one-time fee of $199 for us to get set up with them.
Correct.
There's no fee with Paymentus to the city.
Correct.
then an annual fee, of course, none with Paymentus, and 80. So once the 199 is a one-time deal, and then we got $89 a year for the city.
Yeah.
I obviously like the PSN numbers better. If we're going to push this down, actually, if we're going to push this down, if we're going to push the fees out to the taxpayers, the citizens, the users, it's a bit more. I think PSN's a bit more attractive personally. I mean, you're talking the fees are quite a bit less across the board. I mean, I guess what was the thinking there, Mayor?
I'll agree with you. If we're going to pass the fees on to them, then I would suggest PSN because it's obviously cheaper to the customer. I would prefer to see us absorb the fees, and the main reason for that is most communities that are passing the fee on are not seeing the utilization, you know, like they are if they're paying the fees, which makes perfect sense. My reason for recommending Paymentus, if we absorb the fees, is PSN, especially when you look at the credit card part of it, they set a fee, but then they add plus credit card fees. And a couple of the communities I talked to said there's, you know, they have discrepancies sometimes, and really maybe not discrepancy isn't the right word, but they're just not happy with that open-ended, you know, remark of credit card fees. So I agree with you. If we're going to absorb the fees, I guess I would recommend Paymentus over PSN, but if the council decides to pass that on to the user, then PSN is definitely cheaper.
Thanks, Mark.
Mary, do you have any idea what this could cost us?
I spoke with Gladstone, and their monthly bill, and they're quite a bit bigger than us. They have about 5,000 residents. Their customer or their monthly bill runs between $1,800 and $2,000 a month. I'm going to guess that ours is probably going to be in the maybe $1,200 to $1,300 range. You know, it's going to depend again on how much use we get. Obviously, the more you get, the more it costs. You know, the whole reason behind it is you're supposed to have less traffic in the office and, you know, more people paying online.
It's a great idea. I think we've been wanting this for a long time. So I'm glad that we're finally getting to the point where we can do this for people, because I've had a lot of community members say they would like to go online and pay their bills.
Yeah,
The other thing I'll point out on Paymentus, if you look at the bottom, is they offer e-billing. Our customers can, once they set up their account on Paymentus, they can be, you know, just click a button and they'll receive their bills via email. We will not be printing them through our info send and sending them out. They also allow us, once those people sign up for e-bills, we can send them up to 500 emails a month. So for those customers that are no longer getting them in the mail, we would be able to send emails such as the newsletter that we send out.
that's nice, Maria. Yeah, I would propose that we would eat the costs and go Paymentus personally. That's my recommendation to the council.
This would definitely take the workload off the clerks. Mary?
Yes?
This would definitely take the workload off the clerks, wouldn't it?
I would think so, Lee. You know, we have a lot of utilization of our ACH system right now where the bank does it for free, but we have numerous requests for people to be able to pay them online.
If you go with this company, is there a length of time that you have to sign up for, or are you locked in for a year or 6 months?
I do not believe there is any length of time. Ray, did you see anything in that contract? I'm just looking right now, but
It's a 5-year.
Five-year.
was it
Wow.
5-year?
Page 8, paragraph 9, 5 years.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about a 5-year contract. Grant, is there a trial period where if we're not satisfied after 90 days, 180 days, we can get out or no?
I don't see it. I don't see anything in here in that regard, Councilman Moraro. It also does renew for successive 3-year periods unless canceled 6 months prior. But I didn't see, at least in the contract, I didn't see any ability to kind of do like a test run or anything. That probably would be negotiated with the clerk and the treasurer and the city manager with that company, perhaps.
How do you feel about a 5-year contract and no test period?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have the luxury of having personal feelings about this. Just advising you guys on the law. This it's a binding contract. It would lock you in for 5 years, and presumably they probably wouldn't like it if we tried to breach it and sue us for any damages. But it has pros and cons. Obviously, perhaps it might also lock in any costs that might go up over the course of 5 years as well, and lock that in if the city is getting a benefit. It could be a long-term benefit to lock somebody in, but it also could cut our knees off at the ability to not, if we don't like it or it's not working well, to make any changes short of that 5 years.
If the other company had the same thing in it, or didn't you get that one, Grant?
I looked closely at the Pimentus one because that's the only one that was recommended to go with.
Mm-hmm.
And I glanced through the other one just because it was an alternative, but it doesn't, in the information that was provided, I don't think we have the contract. I didn't get the contract. I don't think that was with the council. I think it went through and just provided the oversight and the sales proposal itself.
Grant, that's correct. I reached out to the lady from PSN on Friday to request a copy of the actual contract. And as of today, when I left work, I had not heard from her. So I don't know if it's with the pandemic that she's just not available at this time. If we want to consider tabling it to the next meeting for me to get that contract, the other thing I could do is check with Paymentus and see if they offer a shorter contract, and if they do, if it changes the pricing.
Yeah, Mary, I would like to see the two proposals side by side. The total PSN, TNCs, along with the Paymentus, just so we get a better feel for what both contracts look like. And I did catch some things on some of the later pages here where, Grant, there's some monthly maintenance and service fees that are waived by PSN, but all it gives us from the Paymentus standpoint is billed per user. So I think there's some open-ended things in this thing that I'd like to get some clarification on. So personally, I'm not comfortable giving it a yes vote right now.
I agree.
And that's no problem. We have time to, if we bring it back to the next meeting in April, we have time to get this up and going prior to our June implementation of the MyMeter.
Do I have a motion to postpone this to the next council meeting?
A motion we postpone is requiring more additional information from Mary on the alternate proposal from PSN, so we can delve a little deeper into the situation.
Support.
Mr. Moraro,
Yes.
Mr. Pop,
Yes.
Mrs. Brew,
Yes.
Mr. Kramer,
Yes.
Mr. Menegini.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to fire department equipment purchase turnout gear.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. the proposal before you is from Fire Chief David Ball regarding the purchase of turnout gear. The request is for $1,930.89 from turnout gear, or from Allied Fire Sales. There was another quote that was roughly $60 less expensive. However, our fire chief has recommended that we go with the Allied Fire Sales. One item of note is that we do have a public contribution from a resident for north of $1,000, $1,084.94, with the stipulation that it be specifically applied to turnout gear. So that would account for just shy of half, or just a little over half of the cost.
Do I have any questions? If not, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion, the purchase of the turnout gear be awarded to Allied Fire Sales for a price not to exceed $1,930.89.
Support.
I support.
Mr. Pop,
Yes.
Mrs. Brew,
Yes.
Mr. Kramer,
Yes.
Mr. Menegini,
Yes.
Mr. Mararo.
Yes.
Move on to Electric Department Millsoft proposal from Empower, Mr. Anderson.
Okay, this item, or this agenda item, was brought forward by the electric department, and actually was initiated by our electrical engineer, Mr. Dave Krause from KPE. As you remember, a couple months ago, Mr. Krause was awarded a contract to perform an update to our electric master plan. In so doing, he came back and was requesting information from our Empower or our system. And what came out of that was that there's some modeling that Mr. Krause is trying to do, where the information, if we were able to put this in this Millsoft connectivity application and put it into our Empower, that we would have actually on time or current time evaluation of our system, technical evaluation of our system. Right now, there's a lag to what we can evaluate on loadings of transformers and other technical data on real-time use. So we did have we have monies in the budget for doing this type of work with Empower. As I showed you in our in my report, the total cost of the project is $7,000. We can actually split this up into two segments. We can approve it now, and then we could have $3,000 of the project performed before July 1st, and then the $4,000 would be into the new fiscal budget. So we would be more than adequately supported by our budget, our current budget and our future budget for this project. It is something that I've talked with the electrical foreman about. I've talked with obviously Empower, and it gave us a more technical breakdown of what we'd be providing. And you can see that in the attached email. And with Mr. Krause, who also was very interested, if we had this, he would be able to more efficiently provide advice to us on a real-time basis. So our recommendation is that we move forward to have this a Millsoft project approved.
Is this something that could have been put out on bids?
Not very easily, simply because it's part of that program that we have already with our GIS. So this is actually programming within that GIS program.
Didn't Mr. Krause do our master plan last time? We never had this. What's the importance of having it now to do the master plan?
Well, he did the same work, but he had to do it all by hand. So we had to go and take readings and measurements. And if you remember, his proposal this time was a fraction of what we spent, or what he spent on the last proposal. And so he's asking for, if we have this capability, his recommendation is that we move forward and have this capability, because he still has to do this windmill circuit model in order to give us an evaluation of our electric system. He did do it last time, but he did it through some additional work on our end to get him the data. So our recommendation is to move forward, simply because this will give us real-time data within our GIS program, which we don't currently have. So we can see real-time information on our loadings of our transformers and other equipment within our system.
That's neat. That's
Didn't, he already gave us his proposal though, and that didn't include this. So he expected to do it like he did before.
Right. He expected that we do it like we did before. The work is on our end, not on his end. He needs the data in order to do it.
Will his bid be cheaper then if we're doing partial of his work?
No, we did the work before. He anticipated that we'd do the work.
Candy, if I may. So what I'm hearing right now, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that we're gonna have some real-time data. It's gonna cost us $7,000. My first question is, how many outages are we actually having?
We don't have an excessive amount of outages. I don't have that information right at my fingertips. That's something I definitely can provide for you. But the whole theory behind it is that if you have the real-time data and you can see where you're stressing your system, especially on the loadings, before there's a failure, and you can see where, there's certain characteristics within some of the equipment within the system that, the failure might not happen for a year, but you can see where the stress, you can see that stress within the system, and you can actually see it.
Ray, excuse me, we just approved, like, I know a month and a half ago, we just approved like $6,000 for line readings. Is that part of that as well? Trying to find out where our weaknesses are in the system. What I don't want to do is get redundant and just have a real nice bells and whistle, cute little, we all want real-time data. Real-time data is great, makes decision-making a lot easier. But to Candy's point and to Scott's point, we're paying somebody ready to do this analysis, right? I understand it's going to limit the work for our staff, but it's still $7,000. And we are doing other things to mitigate and identify weaknesses in our system. So is this a necessity?
You're talking to an engineer, so yes, I think it's a necessity. Data, you can never underestimate the value of the data. And if you can have real-time data, that's, we have the system in place that we could efficiently put this in play, rather than, looking at information that's coming delayed. And so, I find it valuable. In talking with the electrical engineer, that he definitely thinks that it's valuable to our system. So that's where I'm taking my cue.
I understand, Rain. You're talking, since you wanted to clarify what you are, I'll clarify what I am. You're talking to a businessman, and budgets are important. So that's why I'm asking how important this is for us to approve another $7,000 into our distribution network.
Yeah. So with my business, with my business hat, which you pay me for, and I look at our budget, this does not in any way stress our budget. And so, I look at it as an extreme value to our system. If this were something that would be stressing our budget, I wouldn't propose it.
I don't like the idea that this is one of many things that we are going into next year's budget with. We keep doing that, and we're saying, well, we're going to pay half now, half later. I'm starting to worry about what our budget's going to look like when we already spent it before we even get to our budget. So at this point, I don't agree with this.
Madam Mayor, this would not stress our budget this year if you wanted to pay for it in this year's budget. I just offered up an opportunity to I've heard from council on numerous occasions, is it budgeted, is it not budgeted? We do have the budget numbers for it this year. Is it something specifically laid out? No, but it is within the budgetary parameters that we have for this fiscal year. And so I just offered up an opportunity to have it spread out. But I'm more than comfortable in looking at our budget that we can make it for this year if we needed to.
We keep doing, we're pretty soon, we are not going to have no money for next year's budget because we're already taking out for the hydro, this and that. Just at this point, I don't agree with this. I don't want to keep doing that even, and it wasn't budgeted for this year.
I'll just add, Ray, that I totally agree with Candy's point, but also, gang, nobody sold me on the value of this, I guess. I'm still waiting to hear the value of the $7,000 that we're getting back.
Okay. Can we table it, and I'll try and have the value question more clearly defined?
Of course, Ray, we trust you. I'm just saying, I'm just not sold. I just don't see it right now. And maybe it's my naivety, but I guess I need more information.
And I just want to point out that in the report, I mean, I do identify that we've spent $3,500 to date on a $10,000 budget. And so it's not like it's way out of budget to do this at this time. That's the points that I'm trying to make. I mean, we do budget an amount for each year within professional services to handle this type of work. So
totally understand. I'll just ask my fellow council members: am I the only one that's not to the value of the 7,000 yet? Is it just me, or do you folks?
I can see both. I can see both sides of this discussion, but maybe it's better just let it go for a couple of weeks. Maybe we can get some more information from maybe Mr. Kraus.
I can do that, and I'd be more than happy to do that because obviously I'm not an electrical engineer, so it is. That's why I asked for, at least a written explanation of its use. But I can reach out to Mr. Krause to get a more definitive, detailed analysis.
Yeah, and I'm with Jeff on this. I'd like to see what Empower has to say. What are we, what are the benefits of us doing this?
Well, it's within the email that's provided from Empower, but since they're the ones that are getting the contract, I'd like to have something from Mr. Krause from his perspective. I think that would be very helpful.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Is there any other comments? Do I have a motion to postpone?
I make a motion, we table it.
Second.
Mrs. Brew,
Yes.
Mr. Kramer,
Yes.
Mr. Menegini,
Yes.
Mr. Moraro,
Yes.
Mr. Pop.
Yes.
Anyone wishing to address the council on any item of interest shall do so now by using the question and answer feature or raise your hand feature in Zoom. Telephone only attendee will be unmuted and given an opportunity to make their comments. State your name and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes. Do we have anybody?
I have no comments and no questions.
Okay. We'll move on to mayor council comments. Scott?
I just have a couple things here. With this coronavirus going on, the health and safety of our community. Please, everybody, do their part. Stay by themselves. No gathering. Go for a walk. That's basically all you can do. Is just stay your distance from somebody. We need to beat this. This is a very serious issue. Another thing I'd like to point out is being that, we've been on lockdown or whatever, I've been going for a lot of walks around town just because that's basically all you can do. I'm seeing a lot of garbage that people have accumulated over the winter, like in the alleys where they would have their garbage set up throughout the winter. I'm just hoping that people would start being courteous and picking up the garbage before it blows in other people's yards. It's looking really bad. And I'm also seeing along this, you're seeing more people out walking and everything else like that. I'd just like to put a reminder out there to the public that if you are walking a dog and your dog does its duty on the road or the curbside or somebody's yard, you are to pick it up. That is a fine. That's all I got.
Brett?
I would just like to thank all the essential workers, especially our police force and, all the people up at the hospital just through these tough times.
Jeff?
Yeah, I'd echo both Scott and Brett's comments and also add Mary. So I want to thank Mary for, the diligence she's putting into the online billing. Again, just some questions that we need to answer and get a recommendation. Sorry, put a little bit more work on you, Mary. And also would like to echo the fact that as we're seeing a little bit better news is coming out of some of the areas now, it's not all bleak. Again, don't panic. Thank the community for, even when you walk, I've walked in Pat's now, and people are really trying to keep that 6 foot distance and using the sanitizers. And I see a lot of really good things, going on out there. And I just want to thank the community for all that.
Lee?
I agree with all the items on the other three. And I'd like to just mention that all my manifest questions from the last meeting were addressed. Now, the compost site. This is getting to be a joke. There's 14-inch chunks of wood out there. And I just can't believe it just keeps piling up and piling up and piling up. There's boards in there. You might not see them now because so many people are going out there. They've dropped some more trash off again today. I mean, it was just on Sunday, it was ridiculous out there. There were 10 vehicles in there. It's just piling up, totally out of control. I mean, if it was all brush and what's supposed to be there, there would be no problem. But there's just other junk in there that you cannot believe. I thought we were going to burn it this winter, but I guess I was wrong. And Ray, how's the grant application going with Enbridge? Turnout gear and that?
Yeah, I haven't heard.
You haven't heard? Okay. But we do qualify, right?
Actually, we're outside of their range. So
You sure about that?
Yes, positive.
Okay.
Okay, I have a few
Lee,
things.
I'd like to add to your, sorry, Candy.
Okay, Scott.
I'd like to add a few things to what Lee had said about the compost site. I also like to point out that it's for residential only. It's not for businesses to be dumping off their compost. That's all.
Okay. I have a few things that I'd like to say. I want to send my thoughts and prayers to the people who are fighting for their lives, and to the people who have died from this virus and their grieving families. I want to thank all the people who are still working, our essential workers, during this trying time. To our community and all surrounding communities, please stay home and stay safe. Ray?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's just a couple of items that I want to bring up. I got a message today, and just for council, that got a request from the DNR for a letter of support. They're going to be working on a grant application for the Piers Gorge, something our local DNR works on within their department. And if I want to know if council has any issue with me writing a letter of support.
What's it for, Ray? What are they trying to do?
Well, just upgrades to the Piers Gorge trails, the bridges, the trails. So it's all within the DNR. So they just ask that local communities provide letters of support, because they're competing with other parks around the state, other state parks around the state of Michigan.
Upgrades are good. I'm all for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I support it.
I support it to anything to help and make it better down there and bring people in.
Okay, I appreciate it. I just want to give also a quick update on the COVID-19, some of the things that we're doing here. We do have shift work within the city hall at this point. So I want to make sure people are aware of that. You know, they all know that the doors are closed, but we do have our staff shifted so that we're not all in at the same time. We did also move on closing some of the play equipment and other areas of our parks, basketball, softball, tennis, you know, those areas, especially at playgrounds, Knights Kingdom. And I just wanted to make everybody aware that we just cannot provide the safety, the sanitation in those areas, and it's you can't get your 6 foot spacing in a lot of cases. And this is something that's more prevalent across the whole state and the UP as well. So that's something that we move forward on. I don't know if council has any comments on that particular item. Okay, and then I wanted to remind everybody that for spring cleanup, as Council Member Mangini pointed out, the compost site is open. Obviously, not for boards and large limbs, over 2 inches. It's for brush. We are not able to burn, so that was just a note. We do have, as soon as the road restrictions are lifted, we are going to have a contractor come up and grind the brush, and he's taking that out. So hopefully we'll get that all cleaned up once the road restrictions are lifted. Also, as far as spring cleanup, until the stay at home or shelter at home order from the governor is lifted, we can't bring in the spring cleanup dumpster, and we do not do curbside. Now, I'm specifically saying that because we are seeing, and we see this every single year, and I don't understand, we put out notice after notice after notice, we do not do a curbside leaf pickup or brush pickup, and we continuously see in the spring, people put it out on the boulevard and worse, in the street. So if council is not object to this, we are going to send notices to those people and tell them to remove that and bring it to the compost site, because it will get in our catch basins. It becomes a problem. And again, we don't do curbside during the spring. So
Ray,
yes.
are we not allowed to bring in the dumpsters? Because I see, because a lot of people are at home, they are doing a lot of cleanup and stuff, and I just don't want to see the garbage be spread all over town or just dumped anywhere. So you're saying right now, by law, we cannot bring the dumpsters in for dumping?
We cannot control the separation at a dumpster, and the dumpster is typically within the fence. So we don't want anybody in our fence. So that's the main reason we cannot control the dumpster. Now, the recycling dumpster is going to remain as is, so that's open. But
put the dumpster outside the fence?
If you put it outside, we still can't, you still can't monitor. Like the compost site, there's plenty of room for people to go out and spread out. But, just talking with our DPW crew, they can't see how people are going to stay 6 feet away. That's what they see year in and year out. I know it's used quite a bit. It's a tremendous benefit for people because we have it there for quite a long time. But it's just something that, it's going to invite issue with the the separation order.
People won't stay 6 feet apart because wouldn't just like one person at a time dump in the dumpster? I've never seen where.
Well, according to the guys at the DPW, that is the case. And I'm following similar patterns to the other municipalities across the UP. I don't just take the state, because we have in watching and following what the other communities are doing. They're much more aggressive downstate because the issues are much higher downstate at this time, if you look at the map. But in tracking with what other municipalities across not only the county, but the UP, that is a consistent policy. Now, if it's the council's will, we'll do it, but we aren't comfortable with putting the dumpster out there.
Ray, well, we're on the subject of garbage. I read or saw someplace that we will not pick it up unless it's in a bag. Is that right?
The pickup rules are such that you're supposed to have it in an approved container, which is either a can or in a bag. We have accommodated people with, they throw it out in boxes, and you'd be amazed at what some people throw garbage out in. But with everything going on, we're basically saying you need to get it in a bag or in a can so that we can get it safely into the truck.
Yeah, because I've noticed alongside the garbage cans, there's like a baby seat or something, there's always something that's more solid laying there, and if everybody knows, they can't do that.
Right.
And one other thing which reminded me when Scott was saying about the compost site out there, when I was out there today, I will tell you tomorrow who the person was. That it looked like a half the size of one of these big dumpsters. They were just coming out of there. And what they dumped, I don't know. But they were coming out of the compost site. This was a huge, huge container. I'll tell you tomorrow who it is.
Okay, are you done, Ray?
Yeah, that's basically my COVID update. If anybody has any other questions, feel free.
All right, I would need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Creamer,
Yes.
Mr. Menegini,
Yes.
Mr. Marraro,
Yes.
Mr. Pop,
Yes.
Mrs. Brew.
Yes. Meeting adjourned.
Have a good week. Have a good